Hi guys. Hey, let me start off with making sure that my live video is uh, actually on public post. It always switches to a friends only. All right, let me do that. Okay, great. Hi guys. Hey, let me start off with making sure that. All right. Hey, let's start. Okay. So, hi. Hello, friends. We've been doing our very best to deal with the lockdown, right? At the same time, a lot of us are starting to think about the future of our jobs. You must be worried. I know I'm worried. I'm worried about my business, right? And you might even try not to think about it. But let's face it, people, it is real. Things are changing. Things are going to change whether you like it or not. So it's time to rethink about the way we plan our careers, right? So I've got the right guy for you to give us a lot of insights and advice and let's tap into his wisdom, right? So I'll call him back into the studio. Hi, Sunil.
Hi, Dean. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Thank you very much, Dean,
All
for
right.
inviting me.
Great to have you here. Sunil, friend Sunil is joining us from India. By the way, which part of India are you in now?
I'm in Mumbai, Bombay.
All right, awesome. Okay, now, friends, let me share a little bit about Sunil. So, Sunil Deshmukh, he's the man who's been staying relevant for the last 30 years, and he has moved from one industry to another industry 6 times, worked across 50 countries, and you've stayed in 6 countries, right, while doing all these things. So,
That's
I
right.
think it's a mind blown. It's something that very few of us can handle. And you also have 15 years of experience working in MNC, and then another 15 years working in quite a large family corporation, right?
Yes,
All
that's
right,
right.
awesome. Okay, good. So let's get this discussion started. Okay, now you have such a wide experience across so many industries. First, can you just share with us what are some of the industries that you have been involved in?
Oh, fantastic. So, good morning and good afternoon. Good morning to my friends in India and good afternoon in Singapore. In your lunchtime, I'm very sorry.
It's okay.
Well, I worked in the industry typically in manufacturing, but
Mhm.
six type of industries. One is tires and tubes, Goodyear tires, the
Yeah.
American MNC.
Mhm.
Then I worked for the beer industry, the Foster's Beer, the Australian company. Then I worked for McDonald's, the world's #1 food manufacturing company, burger company. So these are
Wow.
the three. And then I worked in a chemicals manufacturing in a large plant in Middle East. Then I worked in a building material distribution and manufacturing. And then I worked in electrical cables manufacturing in Singapore.
That is like wow, it's a big arc, right? Going across so many completely very different industries. So how did you manage to stay relevant all these years?
It's a very good question, Dean. How to remain relevant all the time in the life is the most difficult question. But I always believed, I'm sorry, always believed there are three things permanent in the life. One is the death, second is the income tax, and third is the job loss or moving from one job to another job. These are the three permanent things in the life.
Okay,
So
that's a good one. All right.
to remain relevant, what I did, I'll tell you in a brief, is basically curiosity,
Mm,
resilience,
mm.
discipline, and having huge common business sense. I say common business sense, not common sense, common business sense. And last, very important, is the agile mindset. And when I
Agile
say
mindset.
agile mindset means agility for location, agility for change in the roles, agility for functions, agility for anything else required in the job. So these are 4, 5 things are very important if you want to remain relevant all the time.
So I like what you said about being having business common sense, right, or something like that. You said,
Common
okay,
business sense or business common
common.
sense. Yeah.
Okay, so common business sense.
Yeah.
This is something that a lot of us, if you are in the employee role, we tend to just be focused very much on our own job scope, and we don't. We usually there's no motivation for us to think in the bigger bigger sense. So I think it seems like you had that mindset right from the beginning. So what
Yeah.
was it different about you that made you think about this when most of us won't?
Yeah, very good. So I always tried, my always intention was how not to become a stereotype.
Ah, okay. So
See
that's the
what
first point,
happens,
right? Yeah,
that's the
friends.
first
So
point.
remember that. Do not become a stereotype. Great.
Yes. So I started my career as a management accountant or a financial accountant. I always ensured that people should not recognize me only as an accountant or management accountant, because
Ah,
typically an accountant will become a financial controller and he will become a chief financial officer. That's it.
so there is just
I
one path up.
Yes. So when my colleagues and friends were talking about only becoming financial controller and chief financial officer, I was talking about becoming a managing director, marketing director, strategy head. So huge difference. They wanted to remain in stereotype. I want to get out of stereotype.
So you're thinking laterally, right?
Yes, that's absolutely right. Thinking laterally. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So next question. Can you must have you must have experienced a lot of challenges. So if you can think back, what is that one or two biggest challenge that you faced in navigating your career, and how did you overcome it?
No, there are many challenges, to be frank. Means what first biggest challenge is in a career growth, you have two types of career growth. One is vertical as well as horizontal.
Mm.
Most of the people thinks that vertical growth is the best way to grow in the life. So that was a big challenge. I always believed no. Okay, so that is one. Second thing is to remain relevant all the time. You have to also keep educating yourself, getting new knowledge, more knowledge all the time.
But you know what? Things are changing, right? Things are changing. We don't even know what's up 5 years from now.
Yes.
So, getting going course after course, improving your skills. To me, I don't think that guarantees that you're going to stay relevant. Because
Yeah.
by the time you finish the course, I think in 6 months or 1 year, that course content is not relevant anymore. So, what do you think we could do more other than just looking out for the next best thing in courses? And nowadays, so many webinars, right?
Yeah, the webinar is like I say it's a infodemic right now happening. Like we have
Infodemic.
epidemic,
Okay, that's nice.
so we are going into infodemic. Too much information, we don't know what's right, what's wrong, which to be trusted, not to be trusted. So anyway, but to remain, see, I always believe when you come into a corporate sector, when you are in a private job, you are not in a government job, you have to continuously fight for your survival.
Okay.
You cannot assume that I have got into a good company, I am working for Unilever or I am working for P&G, and now my life is set. Never happens like that. You are always prone to the risks, and these risks might be anything. It might be, for example, obsolescence of your position. It might be
Mm.
obsolescence of technology. For example, Kodak camera, do we remember now? We don't remember Kodak camera now.
Mm.
Obsolescence of profession. For example, we used to have a profession called data entry operator. Do you hear this now? No.
Yeah.
We used to have family doctors. Nowadays, we don't have family doctors.
Mm.
We go to specialist doctor directly, not to a family doctor. So what I'm
Okay.
trying to say is you have to change with the time, otherwise time will change you.
So it seems like what you're saying is that we always need to be aware of what's going on around us in the business world, not just in your job, not just in your organization. So
No.
you need to be aware, and you need to start to project beyond today, right? Beyond tomorrow or even next year. You need to start thinking and talking to people, right?
Yes,
Right.
that is exactly common business sense we were talking about.
Nice. Okay. So, I know you mentioned to me that you coach organization leaders and business owners. So, from all those people that you have coached or consulted for, what is the most common misconception regarding career planning or career success? What do you notice among them?
Very, very, very good question, Dean. And this is aptly applicable to both sides, employer as well as employee. There are myths, there are misconceptions. The biggest myth or misconception is your career can only grow vertically. That is the first misconception.
Mm,
Career can grow horizontally also.
mm.
Second misconception is you have to become an industry expert. I don't believe in
Ah,
that. No. You have to become an expert in what you do, not only industry expert. You cannot be only a guy working for cable manufacturing company or only working for hotel management industry.
right.
Second thing is there is a huge correlation between age, qualification, experience, and salary. So that misconception is always there. There is a gender bias also. Some jobs can be done only by male and some jobs can be only done by female. That
That's
also we
yeah.
have to handle.
Mm.
But very important is that what I always tell is that you are responsible for your career growth, not your employer.
That's a big one.
Uh,
That's something that a lot of people need to get their head around because
yes.
we always leave it up to our bosses, our supervisors to kind of advise us what's the next step, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they can be your conduit, but they cannot guarantee your career.
Mm. Okay. Now, it's interesting. I want to come back to the point where you have moved across so many industries, so many different industries.
Yes.
I've trained. I'm also a trainer of employability skills. I've trained like I don't know how many. I think it's 400 executives of different levels, and teach them career planning and different skills of how to make themselves more employable. One thing I noticed in all of them is 95% of them. So I'm just throwing a kind of majority number, right? 95% of them are really afraid to move into a new industry. So what they always say is that, oh, how can I move because I'm already like 40 plus and I don't want to start at the bottom, or if I have to move, I have to take a pay cut, I have to start from zero. And because of this, they rather stick to an industry that is tried and tested, but they're so sick and tired of it because they've been in there for so long, maybe 10, 20 years. So what's your take on this?
See, first thing is we always love human beings love status quo, right? We don't
That's
want to
right.
change anything.
Mm,
And status quo is the most dangerous thing in our life. If you
mm.
became too comfortable with anything, then there is a problem. So one as long as soon as you enter the corporate sector, you have to assume that your job is not permanent. Number one, your
Ah,
industry is not permanent. Number two, your location may not be permanent where you are working for.
that's very good. Yeah.
So one has to start thinking about what is the most relevant industry for me other than industry I am working for.
Mm,
You have to keep upgrading your knowledge. You have to keep networking the people from different industry group and stay relevant all the time. And very
mm.
important is that how you become relevant for other industry.
So you're saying, okay, wait. So I'm just taking on the mindset of a typical employee. They say that, you know what, I'm really good at this job. I like this industry. So now you're telling me that I need to start thinking about another role in another industry. That's isn't that doesn't that mean that all my experiences are wasted? Like, you know, so now I have to come up with something new, totally reinvent my knowledge and skills. So what's your take?
I always believe that you must have a plan B always available.
Hmm.
Now, plan B is if something happens, as long as you are growing in your existing industry, in your existing company, you are getting promoted, you are getting good salary, no need to go to plan B. But when you hit the plan B, you should not start, oh my God, now I don't know what to do. Now I have to start from
Ah,
scratch. I have to lose 1 year. No. So keep plan B ready. But use plan B only in case of emergency, only in case of desperate situations. That's I always believe.
okay. And you also seem to you from what you say, okay, there is a plan B when things don't go right in where we are at the position where we are in. But you're also saying, and you mentioned just now that we need to proactively think about moving, right, and
Yes.
not just wait for
Yes.
something wrong to happen. So this
Yeah.
is a mindset. It's not just a strategy. It's not just a plan on paper, right? So it's a mindset. So how can people start adopting that mindset? What are some of the things that they need to think about so that they ask themselves some questions. What are these questions? Please.
So basically, everyone has to talk to himself. So I call it a sort of intuition or talking to your inner mind. Am I going
Mm,
to work in this job lifelong? Number one.
mm,
Is this industry going to survive lifelong? And is this
mm,
the only location in the world where I would like to live and work on? These are the three questions. I'll give you an
mm,
example. I was working in a cable manufacturing industry in Singapore for 8.5 years as a managing director. When I came in Singapore, there were 10 cable manufacturing companies. When I left Singapore, there were only 3 or 4 cable manufacturing companies left.
mm.
So all these people working in this cable industry, they have to think what next is going to happen to them. Other very, very important thing is you have to keep asking this question not only to yourself, but to your mentors, your coaches, your trusted people. What's happening in my industry? You know, if you even see
Mm.
Singapore industrial growth in last 50 years, every 10 years, new industry came into Singapore and created a growth pattern,
In
right?
Singapore, we don't stand still, right? Things change all the
Exactly.
time. Yeah.
Absolutely. So Singapore is the classic example. So you have to make yourself relevant. You have to create the skills which I call transferable skills. So what you learn in current company, how you can apply in the new company. It's transferable skills.
Okay. So that's a very good point. Can you just share like what are some of the fundamental transferable skills that we need to have? And I know LinkedIn and other researchers have listed out all these transferable skills. If you can touch on some of that, Sunil.
Yeah. So some of the skills I would always say that the transferable skills point of view is basically your passion, your reputation, and your credibility. See,
Mm,
these are the things which are means you earn you earn a credibility or reputation over a period of time. You have to maintain that continuously. You cannot allow to go it down, right? Second thing is obviously integrity and honesty, again related to the same thing sort of. Most important is your ability to learn new things and your ability to take the new risks.
mm.
That is very, very important. If you start a job in, for example, in a finance department or in a, say, quality control department, if you remain in quality control department lifelong, according to me, it's a problem.
So you should never ever like you. I think you mentioned this before. Never ever assume or even think that you're going to be in that role for lifelong or in that path, that vertical path, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you are in a quality control department, for example, in a chemical manufacturing company, you can go in a quality control department in a soap manufacturing company. According to me, that's still okay. But you
Mm.
cannot remain in same company lifelong in the same quality control department and say that I retired 25 years. No, that's not the best thing to happen.
Do you know what? When you're saying this, it also implies, that when you are someone who takes risks, you're also someone who has a positive mindset. You believe that
Yes.
good things are going to happen when you move, because a lot of people don't move because they're too afraid, because they think bad
Yes.
things are going to happen, right? So the
Yeah.
positive
Yeah.
mindset has to come with it. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, how if given in the face of the advent of AI and machine learning, some of us somehow at the back of our mind we know our job role is going to be obsolete. Anything that is repetitive is going to be obsolete. So now, from your experience, from your own journey, what are some of these skills or competencies that we need to have that could put us ahead of this AI and machine learning curve, right? So what
Yeah.
are these, if you have any?
So first thing is my general comment is AI and machine learning is not going to create more problems. There are new types of jobs are going to come. So I always
Exactly.
tell new young students, don't be afraid of AI and machine learning. No. Fourth
Mm.
industrial revolution will create a different types of jobs. Now I always give a example of a three-legged stool, a stool with the three legs.
Yes.
Now that three-legged stool to be stable and standing firmly on the ground, you need all the three legs of equal size, length, strength. So I always say that three legs in your career is one is your domain knowledge.
Mm.
If you are a finance guy, you are expert in finance guy. If you are a marketing guy, you are expert in marketing. So that is your domain knowledge. You should be good in that. That's one leg. Second leg, nowadays in this new world, you need is what technology is driving that domain knowledge. So that is the second leg.
Okay.
See, if you have studied, if you have become a, for example, a marketing manager, you now need to know what is customer relationship management software, what are other softwares which work in a marketing department, sales department. So one leg now is becoming the technological knowledge of your domain knowledge. That is
And
must in.
this
Sorry, go
is
ahead.
this. I was just saying this is something that we cannot avoid. No matter how we hate technology, we cannot avoid it. So you cannot afford to hate technology, right? You need to make it
No.
your friend. Yes.
Yes. So you're absolutely right. You cannot avoid technology. You have to live with technology. So that is the second leg of the stool. Now, third leg of the stool is now how you manage the two legs, leg of a domain expert knowledge and technological knowledge. Come, put it into your leadership quality, put it into your emotional intelligence, put it into your common business sense, and grow your career. That's how it is.
Nice. Okay. So there's one more question. When we talk about technology, when we talk about domain competencies and all that, it reminds me of one issue that is really, a big issue, and that is ageism. So
Yes.
it's a common knowledge that once you hit 40 and above, somehow you become less employable. The companies don't see you as being as good. So, what do you think we can do, those who are 40 and above, to overcome this bias? Because people who are in that age group, they bring a lot of experiences with them. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and I fully agree with you, Dean, that age becomes an issue at some point of time. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to give a nice sugar-coated answer. It's a fact. I am
Mm,
40 plus, and there are many people who are 40 plus. They have gone through
mm.
different. Mark Twain has given a very nice statement. I just want to read two lines.
Mark
Age
Twain.
is
Yeah.
an Mark Twain. Age
Okay.
is an issue of mind over matter. Age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, if you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
Do you know what? I don't mind that I'm in my 40s, but the HR person, the hiring manager minds. So what
Yes,
can I
yes.
do? How can I
So
prove to
agreed.
them that I'm still good for that role?
See, two things. One is how are you selling or how are you telling your story? Because you have got a lot of experience. When you become 40, you have gone through a toughness of your life. And experience is not taught in any management school anywhere in the world. No Harvard, no Stanford, no NUS or no NTU. No one teaches you the experience.
Mm,
They only give you knowledge. They only give you education. So that
okay.
experience, it's like an old wine tastes better. So, but important is how do you sell your story to the new management or new HR managers or new. So that's very important. Second is, are you flexible enough to get into different types of roles and different locations and different type of companies?
Mm.
See, with the age, what happens? You cannot become too choosy or too restrictive.
So this is dealing with our own mindset, right? We already have a
Yes.
set mindset that, like,
Yes.
at this age, given my experience, I need to move into an a position, this certain position.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
you're saying no, that's not the way to
No.
go. Yeah.
So that's what I always say. Don't worry about the designation. Don't worry about the name managing director, CEO. As long as you are enjoying your work and you are getting good amount of salary, whatever is sufficient for you, go for it.
Okay. So that means this whole idea of moving up the ladder according to job designation doesn't work anymore, right?
No, no.
Okay. I
It,
just want to
yeah.
share. I just want to share one very very interesting article that I came across. So Harvard did research. They call it the Dark Horse Project. So this Dark Horse Project, they took all the people who are top performers in their industry or those with massive talent, and then they questioned them about their career planning. Apparently, all these people didn't have a long-term career plan. So, friends, I'm talking to you. They did not have a long-term career plan. This is so against what we were taught in school, or what the hiring people will tell us. So you don't need a long-term career plan, but what you need to do is at every point you need to ask yourself, what is happening now? Uh, this is what it. Here I am at the moment. Who am I now, and what are my motivation? Here's what I found I like to do, because as you go through your job, you realize that some things you don't like, some things you like, some things that you thought you liked but you didn't like. So you need to
Yep.
ask them, what is it that I found that I like to do, and then what is it that I like to learn, and these are the opportunities that I have open for me. Which of these best match right now? And then maybe a year from now, I'll switch because I come across something better, right? It seems to go in line.
Yeah.
What you found out in this go in line with what you're saying all along, right? It's very very interesting. So
Yeah.
a lot of these these experts and talented people, they thought that they're the only one who's doing it. But apparently, all dark horse, if you don't know, means that someone who showed surprising talent in what they do. Okay, so all dark horses, 95% of them have the same strategy as far as career is concerned. So that's very interesting. One example that I'm going to
Yeah.
give now is the founder of Nike. So the founder of Nike actually planned to become an athlete, a professional athlete, but somehow he found out that he wasn't good enough. So what he did was he said, okay, I'm going to still be in touch with sports. So he does long distance running, and his coach happened to play around with the running shoes. And what happened? He partnered with that his coach, and Nike was born, right?
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
an amazing example. So
Yeah.
moving,
That's what
yeah,
I call that passion versus profession.
they can be same thing, but they can also be different, right? Because
Yes.
passion can
Yes.
change, right?
But you can combine passion and profession and become a Nike.
Nice, nice. I like that. Okay. Now, there's so much talk about career resilience.
Yep.
So what we are talking about is actually career resilience. But based on your own experience, how would you
Yeah.
describe this concept? Looking back on your journey.
Yeah. 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 So I always, let's say, what is resilience? Resilience is the ability to adapt to changing circumstances, even when the circumstances are discouraging or disruptive. That's the simple definition of resilience. What happens is career resilience is a very nice so-called
It's a big word.
big word management
Big
term
word.
and all those things. And when we go into a corporate, we assume that my career will be managed by my company, my employer, and my boss, and all those things, and they will give me opportunity, career growth plan. Nothing happens in life like that. I mean, let me be
Mm.
very frank. I worked for multinationals 15 years, best of best, and 15 years. You have to decide your own career. What is most important in career resilience? I use the terminology is called is employment versus employability.
Oh, that's very nice. Employment versus employability. Okay.
Are you employable at every single point of time in your career in that organization? That defines your career resilience.
Can you repeat that question again so that everyone gets it?
Yeah, what I'm saying is employment versus employability. So employment
Okay.
is your job.
Mhm.
Employability is your ability to get employment at all the point of time and remain in the job. That is employability, which includes your skills, knowledge, expertise, experience. So if you are not employable because of any reason, that could be experience, knowledge, teamwork, leadership, your career resilience has no meaning in that.
Nice one. Okay.
So what one need to do to get into a career resilience, or what one should think of? Just give me 4 points. I'll tell you. You should contribute to the skills aligned to your industry. What your company wants, you should have those skills, not what you have carried with you. Number one,
Okay.
continuous learning. There is no option. Continuous learning. Excel all the time in what you do. You should be flexible in your work, and you should always give a fantastic performance. If you follow these 4 5 things, your career is set.
Nice. I also want to add one more point to that, based on what you have said earlier about knowing about the business environment, right?
Common sense. Yes.
And the other one you said, what is your story? What is the story that you're going to tell to the next employer, right?
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
thought these two you put together, you can only get a good story, and you can only have foresight if you are going out and networking, correct or not?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You cannot
Yes.
just go to work and go home and go to work and go home day in, day out. You have to
Yeah.
go out there, network with people in your
Yeah.
industry, or network with people who in the other industry that you want to go to, the next one that you want to go to. I'm sure you must
Yes.
have done that unconsciously or consciously. I'm sure you have done that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. I think you raise a very nice point. Networking is the most important thing in the world And it's not networking only in your own industry, it's networking everywhere.
Mm.
And
And
networking,
I just want to point out that networking is not a dirty word. A lot of people, this is based
uh,
on my talking with all the executives that I've trained. They think that networking is like, you're trying to get something out of people. It's not. You just go and hear what people are talking around you, and that's where you get the ground level. You that's how you put your ears to the ground, right? To know what's
yeah.
coming up, right?
I say networking should get you a next job. You should not apply for next job. Someone should from your network call you and get you the job.
Yes, because the best jobs are never advertised.
Yes,
Yeah, they're all
absolutely.
gotten by referral.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you lived in multiple countries. You have worked or done business in so many different countries.
Yeah.
One question I wanted to know, I'm curious. Do you see any cultural differences in how people view their career planning in different countries?
Din, I must congratulate you. I last 30 years I have been waiting for someone to ask me this question.
Wow.
I'm telling you because in my leadership practice, I specialize in cultural competence. That's my area of specialization.
Okay.
And you have asked, you have hit the target straight because I was waiting for this question. So anyway, culture is a most important thing everywhere in corporate sector, anywhere you go. Now you ask the question, is culture important, or in each culture how career is seen or planned in
Mm,
different countries, right? That's what your question is.
mm,
I say yes, your career planning and your career growth in every single culture is seen differently in a different point of view. Some of the areas I will try to cover. One is it varies from east to west. It
ah,
also varies from country to country. It varies from gender to gender. It varies from position to position. It varies from corporate to government and government to corporate. It depends huge on affordability. It depends hugely on your value systems in your life.
mm.
It depends hugely on your cultural differences within your society.
So many factors.
And
Yeah.
so many factors: importance of money, importance of success in life, then are you in a developed country, underdeveloped country, developing country, whether your country offers you the retirement benefits like medical superannuation. So many factors are
Mm,
there.
so many factors. Yeah.
What I would simply say that there is a nice book called When Cultures Collide.
Ah, okay.
That's the best book available in the world on
Yeah.
cultural competence. When cultures collide, it's written by a guy called Richard Lewis. And in this book, he have defined three types of culture: linear active, multi-active, and reactive. I don't want to go into
Mm,
the definitions and all those things, but what I'm saying is culture plays a huge role in career planning, and it
mm.
varies every single country, in every single country.
So, and you seem to have rode through the whole cultural differences. So, any words of wisdom how we can do that also? Because adapting to different cultures is not easy.
Yeah. See, first thing is if you are living in different countries and in a job as a whatever position, you have to be Roman when in Rome. That's the first rule, right?
Mm.
If, for example, I went to Middle East, I studied Arabic language to speak for.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. When I went, for example, when I go to Myanmar, I try to speak broken Burmese language, or at least try to understand broken Burmese language.
Mm.
When you go to that country, you dress like them, right? For example, you go
Mm.
to Denmark and you start a meeting in the morning. No one says you good morning and how are you and how is your family and all these things. They straight come to the work, work, work.
So they're very
So
task-oriented people.
very task oriented and no nonsense. So what I'm saying is you have to assimilate, or you have to get moved into that culture so quickly that they look at you as a part of them.
Mm.
They should not look at you as a foreigner.
I think you mentioned like trying to learn the language. Even if you speak the broken local language, I think people will
Yes,
appreciate that you're trying, right?
yes,
And they
yes,
will respect you
definitely.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And these are small, I mean, there are very small things which make a lot of difference in a cultural competence. Language, your way you discuss, way you fire people, way
Mm.
your voice comes in arrogance. Like for example, you go in Saudi Arabia and you shake hand with a lady, you're
Yes.
dead, right? Means dead in the sense you're gone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to remember this. I know once I don't want to name the country. I was with a British guy in one of the Arabic country, and I knew that I should not shake the hand. But this guy, by his practice, just, and that lady was a royal family, from the royal
Wow.
family. So
Ouch.
I have to literally pull him out. You know, means I said, thank you very much. Meeting is over. We are going back to our hotel now.
Okay. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Is
Because you
that
don't
serious?
know.
Is that serious?
It's
Yeah.
that serious. So culture plays a very, very important role. And I would request everyone read this book, beautiful book.
Mm,
And anyone wants any knowledge on culture, I'm open for any
mm,
time.
mm. The book is When Cultures Collide, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Cultures Collide by Richard Lewis.
Okay. Sunil, you have given us so much knowledge, so much insights. Thank you. Any last advice for people who are watching and they're worrying about the future of their jobs?
One is my simple request: don't worry of the future, only worry of today. Think of today and tomorrow, not of day after tomorrow. And number one. Number two, job loss is the most common phenomena in the world, and every single person in the life goes through that.
Mm,
You have an inbuilt defense mechanism, ego mechanism in our body. And if you want
mm,
to know that there is a natural response to a grief or natural response to a loss given by Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, she came
mm,
out with how our mind psychologically behaves when we lose something. So you go through a shock and denial, then you go to a
mm.
anger, then you go through a bargaining, then you go through a depression, and then you come out of that and you're okay.
This
Don't
is like the
worry.
stages of grieving, right? Sounds like the
Yeah,
stages
so
of grieving. Yeah.
so stages of grieving, which are defined by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, the stages of grieving. What is a grief? Grief means loss of something, or
Loss,
loss
loss
of
of
something which is very near or dear to you. So
mm.
loss of job is loss of grief, or is like a grief. You are
Yeah, it
losing
is.
something
It is.
very,
Yeah.
yeah. So other important thing is, when you lose a job, I always say that confidence, self-confidence is very important. Personal confidence, social confidence, financial confidence, and professional confidence. But obviously, first look at the financial confidence: how much money you got in bank account, how much time you got left to work on that. But I always see that it's a new opportunity coming your way. It's a new passion. It's a new ikigai for you. It's a new purpose of
Ikigai.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, ikigai, the Japanese principle. It's a new life for you. So please look it positively and look at your passion. What can you do passionately, and whether that can bring you the money, which is also the ikigai of your life. Don't be worried. I always believe that when one door closes, there is new door going to open for you.
Yeah. Just
Definitely.
keep looking. Just keep going
Keep
forward,
looking.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's right.
yeah, yeah.
So, friends, we heard so much. Now, tell me, write in the comments below, what is that one big idea that you got from this conversation with Sunil Deshmukh? It's amazing. So, Sunil, thank you so much for being with us. Friends, if you liked what you have heard, you like this, please share it on your profile, share it with your friends. It will help them a lot, right? So, Sunil, thank you for being here. And friends, thank you for your attention. And we'll end the broadcast now. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.